And in the upper right, in the red, the best Terran player online, bar none, the master of multitasking, it's Trigger. And the bottom left, in the red, he's playing for Basilisk, the young gun from Canada, Trigger. And as we get into this game, it just behooves me to remind you all that if you want more content like this, more Byun games, more Trigger games, more StarCraft casts in general of players at the highest level, and Stormgate content as that becomes available, as news happens, well, you know, as you see in right down there, you should like this video. You should tell me why this game was awesome, because again, we've barely gotten into it. And of course, you should subscribe to the channel because I upload videos 6-7 days a week. And also stream on Twitch at quite often. So you should follow that one there as well. But now, what do we got here in this game? It's a Reaper expand from Byun. I don't think that should surprise anyone all that much. This is how Byun plays. He loves his Reapers. I guess the only surprise is that he's not building a second one. Or that he's not building a second barracks. That he's not going for some sort of crazy Reaper pressure. But in fairness, this is PvT, TVP. This is not TVZ, where Byun has been doing this double racks Reaper expand, double racks Reaper pressure in every game. Almost every series that he's playing. So this one is a little more standard. He hasn't quite been able to make it work. He's been able to do it in the other two matchups to significant effect. But not here, not yet. And the question now, though, is what version of Trigger are we going to see? Because in WTL on, what was it? Yeah, no, WTL on Sunday, Trigger played onside. In fact, Basilisk played onside gaming. And Trigger looked very solid. He played Mario in game one. He took heavy damage to Widow Mine drops, unfortunate, but he fought back. And I think it was about a 40-minute game. He was solidly in the lead for quite a while. Unfortunately, eventually Mario did Mario things and won the game. But it was fairly close, and it really was a game that I think that Trigger should have won. I think he put a lot of top Protoss players in that position, in the position he was in 30 minutes in, and they were able to close it out. But Trigger is just he's young, he's new, and Maru is a hard player to kill. But look at this, Byun is doing the Byun build. And that's actually not fair because Byun has multiple Byun builds, but Byun is doing the thing that he will do 1 out of maybe every 10 games, or he'll go Reaper expand, right? Barracks, Reaper into the natural. Okay, vision, scouting, being able to get the defense, and expanding out of that. And then he'll drop a command center and then 2 more barracks. So this is a 3-rack stim timing with a 3rd base behind it. And that's super cool. So if you're able to get away with it, it's great. But it does slow your tech down a little bit. Your factory, your starport is slower. Your upgrades are slower. So that can be a problem as the Reaper into the main base gets 1 probe. But 1 probe will have to be the number that Byun contents himself with for the time being. But now, production. Getting started here. 3rd base, 3rd orbital just about done. And Trigger has to figure out what's happening. Because, of course, if you go and you don't know what's up and you get a little too greedy against this, you will die. And if you don't get greedy enough, well, the economy is going to scale too hard. So ideally, you go with like 3-gate blink. And then you get a Robo Bay behind that. And you hold with your Colossus. It's great. It's fine. And there's the Robo Bay on the way. And of course, you really can't afford to lose any stalkers on top of this one as well. It's all about how much damage you can get before stim is done, or in this case, as kind of the Byun runs across the map, as your stalkers kind of fight backwards, and how much time you can buy before that first Colossus is out. That really invalidates a lot of this, assuming your posturing is right, assuming your positioning is right, because certainly Byun can go and run a Colossus down and find value. And the other thing we should talk about here, because this is the first PvZ I've casted since July 11th, is that, since that has been played since July 11th. I cast some GSL games, but they were played before then. Extended Thermal Lance is +3 range now, not just +2. As now stalks in the middle of the map here, looking for value, but they don't find much, and now Charge is on the way. In fact, the Robo Bay was allowed to complete, but no Colossus is on the way out of that right now. Trigger just realizing that he needs to build as many units as possible as fast as possible, getting damage on one Marauder here to start. But it's still alive, and now the stim gets committed. That's one, and it's just going to be a stim right on top. Shield battery overcharge is popped here, but the Stalker's standing their ground, and the shield battery overcharge keeps them alive for the most part. Trigger builds enough, and the first pressure from Byun really does not find all that much at all. But he's going to recommit here. Trigger just blink back. No, he blinks forward. Stim doesn't last that much longer here, and it's the single Marauder that's worth anything. Gets targeted down. Trigger microing away, and he's... Oh, the Stim's out. Runs out of time at the last second here. Byun does not find the value that he wants. And 4 Stalkers. For all that pressure, well, Trigger's very happy about that one. Charge just about done. Colossus just about done. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. Trigger loses an Observer. That's fine. He's got his third base up. He's up 10, well, 7 workers. And the world now, he has an opportunity to do things. Exactly what he wants to do is up to him. Is it going to be pressure on Byun's third? His production's not there yet. But he certainly can put a little bit pressure on the map as he loses a Stalker, but gets some Marines. But now, again, this is the question. Do you take a 4th base here, Trigger? Do you take that 4th? Do you get double forged? Do you start to macro up really hard? Do you wait for your gateways to finish? Do you wait for 2 Colossus and extended Thermal Lance and just commit? Or 3 Colossus, I guess, here. Trigger looking for that magic number, but extended Thermal Lance is about 20 seconds from completion here. Problem is, 1-1 concussive shells all done for Byun already, so this timing where extended Thermal Lance is about 10 seconds. That's potentially the scary one, but Byun's not even going to commit. He understands that timing is just a little bit too close, so he drops the scan, wants to see where the army is, and Trigger, he sees the army as well. And the other thing that's important to take a look at here is how Marauder heavy this army is. There are more Marauders than Marines on the map right now, which means several things. All right, on the one hand, it means that, well, the Colossus are not as powerful as they might otherwise be. All right, you know, Colossus do bonus damage to light units. They don't do bonus damage to Marauders. And with Legacy of the Void, of course, the damage split means that more of that total damage is on the light tag, not the overall tag. On the flip side, Zealots are very good against this army. Charge lots are incredibly good against this army. It seems like Trigger just wants to commit. He's sitting here on 8 gateways, so, you know, a couple more than he might otherwise go for. Warp Prism just about done. There's no 4th base. Yeah, there's a forge going down, but this Warp Prism signals attack, signals pressure here. I'd love to see maybe a Templar Archives, maybe just get a couple Archons to tank, but Trigger's not going for that, not yet. And he drags army off to the right-hand side with a Zealot run by. Meanwhile, on the left side here, gets on top. Stalkers blink on top of the tanks, and they will go down very quickly here. These 3 Colossus standing so far back from the army, but now the chaff is gone. The wheat is unavailable. It's got to have to be so careful here. So Trigger backing up as much as he can, leapfrogging the Colossus, and the Marauders trying to get on top. It's just not working. The Marauders are falling, and Trigger wins this fight handily. But he needs more time. He needs more warp pins here, and he's going to get it. There's just 1 tank on the map, and Trigger rotates where the tank is just not defending. This 4th base does not get to complete. In fact, it's just dead. It's going to get killed or canceled, I guess. Yeah, Byun cancels that one, but Trigger's in a great position right now. Stalkers blink forward, though, eat a tank shot. Trigger wasn't aware that the tank had repositioned, but now 8 Zealots on the way here. This really does feel like the timing, even as Byun on 1-1 here. Stalkers blink forward, they get the tank and SCVs. They're going to have to get pulled here. Couple Marauders coming in from the left side. Trigger's a bit exposed, and 1 Colossus will fall. Warp Prism so very far back, cannot save things. But now there's a tank. The Vikings falling down so quickly. Colossus saved once again, and Trigger, 19 workers dead. Really only loses 1 Colossus, and more Zealots get warped in. The army supply lead's not there right now. He's down 2 upgrades. Is this enough? Can you content yourself with this? And the answer is no. That Templar Archives is done. Archons are on the way here. Trigger wants more. He wants blood. He senses this opportunity. And the Warp Prism's just into the main. 8 Zealots getting ready to move in here. The tank sieged up here. Zealots have to get on top of it or something. But it's the Immortal, actually, that just rallied across that is doing oh so much. Trigger, though, not in the main, not just yet. Marauders try to get on top, but it's just the Immortal here doing so much, and Trigger dominates Byun. Game 1 goes the way of the Canadian sensation, and my goodness, Trigger looks solid. And here we are. It's Trigger up 1, and I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card today. I certainly didn't. Even as I was talking him up as, oh wow, you know, Trigger's so good. He's beaten Byun in the past. He's beaten Byun recently, but that was kind of a dumpster, realistically, coming out of Byun. And now, Altitude is game number 2, and we ask ourselves the question, can Trigger do it again? That is the important question. That is the answer that we need, and I genuinely don't know. Certainly, 10 range Colossus helps a lot. The fact that the Colossus are just that much harder for Byun to get on top of, especially a player like Byun that relies on his bio and his micro to be able to get on top of Colossus and knock him down and find that value, well, you know, if that's not viable, if that's not a thing, if that's just harder to do, then, well, it works out pretty solidly for Trigger. By the way, I was talking about this. Those five series wins, those are all fairly recent for Trigger. Those have all happened in the last couple months. Maybe one that hasn't. But seeing Trigger do this, he's leveling up. He's absolutely leveling up, and it's so much fun to watch. Did Byun block Trigger's a net? Did Byun block Trigger's natural? Okay. So here's what happened here. Trigger's maybe. Yeah, I think Byun blocked the natural. That's kind of my best guess. So Trigger had to take the third, and that's rather vulnerable. All right, so that's what Byun wanted. Byun wanted Trigger to either go and block the third base, or take the third, or just have to delay everything quite a bit. And you know, Trigger took the lesser of two evils. He took his natural at his third, but now that the gap between your main base and your third is very heavy, and it makes things like Hellion builds, which is exactly what Byun's going for, very difficult. But Trigger's got a plan, and he is committing to it. 2 more gateways on the way, so for a grand total of 3, Warp Gate just getting coroned out. So this is just 3 gate pressure. And this is the goal of this, is of course to keep Hellions back home. The goal is to force Byun to stay back and not be able to do what he wants to do. So behind this, Templar Archive or Twilight Council on the way, but for now we're gonna see a lot of Stalkers get warped in, I think, and just see how well Trigger can deal with this. So Stalkers warping on the left side, Hellions running across the map here. There are 4 of them, and Trigger hasn't seen it. He's gonna see it at pretty much as they crest the hill right now. So gets a little bit of damage done. Probes have to get pulled to the right side. This is a lot of damage threat here. The probes just got to split to. They're gonna. I appreciate the idea, but that is 5 dead workers. Thing is though, on the other side, Trigger, this feels like more. He's going to get 4 SCVs. He's going to 4... Widowmine on the high ground. Trigger didn't see it. But he's going to force the command center back into the main. And more importantly here, Byun, look at what he's building. It's not stim. It's not combat shields. It's concussive shells. He has to defend against this, but Blink is on the way. Trigger still has 2 bases. And he's not pumping Stalkers. Not in any truly meaningful, not in any meaningful way, not really. He's got a couple, you know, he got what he wanted. But he's buying time. Hellion's now going to try to dive in, getting a couple more here. 2 more workers dead, because the Stalkers just don't kill Hellions all that quickly, and there's no wall. So 4 more workers die, 26 workers to 24, Byun in the lead. And that's not what you want to see, especially as Trigger, he's chronoing out Blink. You know, he's buying time, and now Byun's going to get a scout here. Widowmine drop into the main base, but Trigger well positioned. So probes are... This is an awkward pull here. Byun target fire. Oh, unburrow, reburrow. He's going to try to find it. Target this down, Trigger. Run away, run away. Okay, he's got a split. That could have been so much worse. And now this game's getting weird because there's a Banshee on the way. And Trigger doesn't want to be on his side of the map. In fact, I believe his recall, only 75% complete. So recall not available. Trigger wants to play on the other side. He's buying time for this, or he's just not buying time. He's waiting for this Warp Prism to be done just ASAP. Where is the robo, by the way? At the third base. Okay, so here come the Stalkers. They have Blink. There's a tank on the high ground. Widowmine. Okay, Blink's out of that one. So dead Widowmine. There we go. The Stalkers, they can't find much more, not just yet. Tank, well, they're just going to sit right in range of that for now. Waiting for the Warp Prism as another tank shot happens. But it's tank in the main, tank in the natural. Or tank on the ramp, tank on the natural. Better way to say that. Widowmine's covering the main base, though. I mean, Trigger does not have an opening. Feels like he wants it. Meanwhile, oh, Banshee on the Trigger feels like checkmated here. Blinks into the main base. Widowmine goes off, so that's another dead Stalker. Tank repositioned. Stalkers have to get on top of it so quickly, and they will, but this is only 3 gates. This is just not enough here. Byun, well, maybe it is actually. Byun does not have stim. The bio's starting to fall down. SCVs are going to have to get pulled here. Trigger blinking with the Stalkers, blinking with the Warp Prism, trying to find something. He's going to get the tank, and now blinking right side, but he has to run away, and it's just not enough. Byun leans into the chaos, and Trigger takes us to game 3. And here we are. It's our third and final game of this series, and it's Gressfon. Best map in the pool, biggest map, well, one of the biggest maps in the pool. Certainly, though, the best map in the pool. And I absolutely love it. So we're going to have to see what happens. It's game 3, fully here. And this time, Trigger's not going to be forced to take his natural as his third. Yeah, no, clearly that's what Byun did in game number 2, right? Because we see Trigger just sends a probe down to scout to see whether he's being blocked. Ooh, Trigger's gonna get, oh, he could have done it. Had to be quick on the mineral walk, but definitely could have found that value. Instead, you know, SCV gets out just enough time. But this game was just weird, right? Game 2 was just very weird. It was a Nexus block. It was proxy gates. It was 3-gate blink. It was Hellions and Banshees and just really weird stuff. So if you're a Trigger fan, in kind of an absolute just topsy-turvy day, it feels like Trigger is the one that feels better in the macro game. And Byun might be the one that wants to make things a little weird, which is generally like, you're talking about the because I think Trigger is still the underdog. You talk about the underdog and whatever. Generally, you'd say, oh well, actually, it's generally the underdog that wants to throw something weird on the map, do something crazy. And Byun's doing. I have never seen him do this 2 times in the same series. Byun's doing the same thing as the Reaper scouts the Nexus timing. But Byun's doing the 3cc build again. I see him do this like once every 3 series, once every 5 series against a Protoss player. Like, it is rare. And seeing him do this twice in the same series is honestly some insane mind games. He's like, if I'm saying, okay, you know, I never see Byun do this more than once in a given series, that's going to be kind of on Trigger's mind here as well as the Reaper falls. So maybe you're going to be less expecting this, and maybe Byun can kind of pull the wool over Trigger's eyes a little bit. SCV. Oh, hey, it's a Marine. It's an SCV. Nice value here out of this Adept that will survive, by the way. Solid start for Trigger. But behind this, a Robo on the way. Second gateway blink. If Trigger goes 4-gate, it's actually a pretty solid option. So for now, Stalkers and Adepts just poking. That's not what I wanted to press. How many gateways is this? 2 for right now. Huh. Wait. Yeah. So this is 2-gate blink Robo. Okay, so yeah, never mind. I was thinking about 4-gate. You know, getting the Robo for the Warp Prism, but no, this is just 2-gate blink Colossus. Third base on the way. So a very solid, very safe opening. We should see a Robo Bay coming down very quickly here. Blink 2/3 of the way done. There's the Robo Bay. Now I do. I feel like I want to see a wall here for Trigger, as that seems very important. As, by the way, this timing from Byun, it's right around the 5:36 minute mark. So Trigger still has time to kind of figure this out and you know, put pressure on the map, figure things. And the big deal, right, is going to be this observer, which now is steaming, beelining onto the other side of the map, and ideally going to check the main. It's going to say, oh, okay. It's going to see that there's a third base done. It's going to see that there's an orbital, and it's going to poke a little bit further, ideally. Just, you know, ideally, it's going to poke a little bit further, and it's going to see these extra barracks. And that is going to be everything that Trigger has to know about. So for now, here comes the army out. Doesn't have stim yet. Stalkers, they get one Marauder here, but they will trade one of their lives for it. Even still, getting a Marauder this early on in the push is just, it's fantastic. So now, Colossus on the way. Stalkers consider moving forward. Scan on the observer. Not great, but a second Marauder gets so low, and Trigger pauses the game. All right, so Byun on the high ground is where we're looking. Trigger on the left side trying to get a poke. He's playing very greedy here, right? Double forge, no charge. And part of this is, right? Game 1 was Dragon's Blood. Game 1 is a game where you can be very aggressive. This is Gressfon. It's going to be hard. So Stalkers move forward. They pick off a couple Marines, and it feels like this pause. And I'm not saying this is what Trigger was trying to do, by the way, as he blinks that, doesn't lose anything. It feels like this pause has kind of taken the wind out of the sails of both bits of pressure. Trigger loses a Stalker there. Line of sight blocker, maybe? No. Okay. Feels like it's taken the wind out of the sails of this push. You know, Byun could have run across the map, could have found value, but he knows he's been found out, and he knows that Trigger likely will have a defense, and realistically, just timings are weird. You want to give yourself a second to kind of get your feet under you. Like, where was I in the macro cycle? What is my build? What am I doing? After 5 minutes of a pause. So, from that perspective, Stalkers on the left side, you get a little more. But now Trigger's got double forge. He's not building, he's not upgrading out of both of them yet, but he will be soon. He's looking at 2 Colossus, third one eventually on the way, extend thermal lance, 2/3 of the way done, 3/4 of the way done. We should see charge eventually. And Trigger is just, I mean, he's getting ahead. Byun's economy is going like gangbusters, absolutely, because hey, that's the build. You know, that's what this build allows you to do. You get more mules. You get SCVs a lot faster, but it means your tech outside of that first push is very slow. It means that, yeah, you get stim and combat shields well enough, but your factory's going to be delayed, your medevacs are delayed, your tanks are delayed. It really is all about the bio. So now Trigger's +1 is just about halfway, or actually just about done. Armor halfway done, and Trigger's now going to have this +1 versus +1 timing. He's going to have a faster 1/1 timing versus just the +1 attack of his opponent. We got to see where this goes, right? Because, yeah, Byun's posturing, but it always feels hard to push into Byun because you know he's going to backstab you. He's going to have a triple drop in your main and a double drop in the natural or something like that. So for now, it just makes sense. God, there's Colossus. The range on Colossus now is kind of insane. And I genuinely don't know whether this is something that's going to get reverted. Like, yes. If the janitors were working properly, if everyone was... oh, it seems like an observer went down. As now a quad drop finds its way across. If the game was being updated and promoted... updated and maintained in a way that we expect... Yeah, no issue. But the reason that Scarlet built the balanced test mod, for example, is pure and simply because there was like people at StarCraft didn't know how to do it. So I don't know. This might just be in the game, and I don't think it's enough. I don't think that it is actually going to be enough to. It's not going to be enough to make Protoss broken, but it might be enough to buff them back into relevance, because again, their issue right now is PvT. So quad drop into the natural here. Byun thinking about pressure as well, and Trigger just responding very slowly. Shield battery overcharge is going to be the commitment, and now, well, shield battery is going to fall, but not a lot has died. Meanwhile, on the left side, I mean, yeah, Trigger's taking that fight very well. He has to buy time. Robo falls. Immortal pops out, though, and this is actually going to be really nice here. Problem is, charge is not done, but there's a Colossus. So Byun should be dealt with here for the most part. Only 3 workers go down, and this Colossus is just firing from so damn far. Stalkers blink on top. They don't get the medevac. That's fine. Colossus range is kind of insane. And now Trigger, he's going to have to retake his gases, add in another robo. He was on double robo. Lost one of them. Realistically, that's fine. He's got 3 Colossus. He lost the Immortal in that exchange, but traded pretty well for himself. And he's going to have this 2-2 timing, that max out 2-2 timing that is very powerful, but he's not even really committing to it. I thought we might see him run across the map on 200 supply on max out on this 2-2. But he's taking a 5th base. He's proving the old adage, win ahead, get more ahead. And Byun is a turtle. Byun has pulled his head into his neck. He's got a carapace over him. And he is just not... I mean, I'd like this decision from Trigger. Leapfrogging tech. Getting up to that 5th base. Not giving Byun the fight that he so desperately wants. I mean, it is just... There are 4 tanks here. In a concave, there's a bunch of ghosts and Vikings and everything. I mean, take your bases, Trigger. Take your bases. Expand across the map. The world is your oyster. Byun just is going to have to sit at home for the time being. So, well, as I say that, he's pushing across. Because his 4th base is, roughly well defended at this point. Now thinking about stimming down the ramp here. This is not a good fight for, well, I wouldn't think it is, but EMP is blanket the army. This Colossus is just free firing here. One will fall, but still there's one here, and Disruptors find their way as well. Colossus Stalkers on the concave. Byun, right now his army's not dying, not just yet, but it's going to go down soon. Everything is so low. Trigger looking for the chase, but can't find it yet. And now Byun backs up. Just a little bit. Disruptor didn't go off. +3 attack on the way, and armor should get started pretty soon after that. Trigger big bank. As I say that, buys a bunch of 3 Disruptors and a bunch of Zealots. Feels like he's got an opportunity here on the 1 upgrade lead. Disruptors around the corner. Byun drops a scan, and he's going to try to get it. Stalkers blink forward. The 1 Disruptor will fall, but it's for Marauders, a Ghost. Actually, did he get 2 Disruptors? I guess he only got 1 of them. Okay, that's actually really solid for Trigger right there. He's maxed out again. He's got 2-2. Byun does not. Zealot's going to run forward. This is a dead tank immediately. 2nd tank as well. Zealots get on top of that one. Stalkers blink. And now Disruptor shots. Byun targets that one. 2nd one doesn't get anything either. And now Trigger's going to have to back up just a little bit. Zoning Disruptors are nice. Trigger trading really Zealots for army. But what he did here, and again, was this the most cost-effective trade? No. He's trading a little bit worse. But what he did there was he traded mineral units for gas units. If we look at resources lost, he's actually lost less gas than Byun. And, big Disruptor shot there as well. A Ghost will fall. Marauders. He's trading minerals for gas. And as you're playing against this, you gladly do that against a high-tech Terran army. So Byun has to be careful. I mean, Ghosts take forever to build. Tanks take forever to build. Vikings, same deal. But Byun now floods down the ramp here. EMPs on this army. Disruptor shots go off. And Byun tries to get on top. The Disruptors don't get a ton of now. It's just going to have to be a mass recall. Colossus will fall. That was expensive there. That's only because DT is on the bottom left side. They get 14 workers. They get the planetary. And they start the base burning. So yeah, Trigger lost a lot of that army. Absolutely not a great trade. Only 1 Colossus, only 3 Disruptors on the field, but he got a base. And he can move in with these. Oh, actually, never mind. He's building Archons. There's only really like 1 Ghost on the field. Not a ton here. So Stalkers blink forward, get a medevac. EMP's not on these Archons just yet, but you need more. You need more time. You need more space. Well, planetary just about done, and that really is going to close this position off for now. So Trigger maxing out again. Up just a little bit in army supply, but importantly, his economy is insane. 4,000 minerals a minute, 1,200 gas. And yeah, Byun is holding on as well as he can. Colossus just firing from such insane range here. Disruptor gets mules and SCVs, 3 fall. Trigger's in a solid spot, right? He's in such a good spot right now. you still have to be careful. This is still a scary army from Byun, as one Viking will fall here. Zealot's a little bit disconnected from the army, but still disruptor shots are massive. And another one just zoning out, killing more medevacs here. Byun, he's 67 workers. His economy is getting somewhat developed, but the problem is his army is low. These medevacs are out of energy, and he's losing them kind of as he gets them. So, Trigger moves in once again. Disruptor shots valid. Disruptor shots very good. And another one. And another one here. Byun has to be so careful on the retreat. Zealot's caught in the backside a little bit. And this Colossus, a little low. Just a little bit. It's one Viking taking pot shots. And EMPs, I mean, EMPs versus Archons feel kind of broken all the time. So these Archons are dead, but more Colossus are getting added in here. That's such a massive deal against this army. Stalkers blink forward. Last Viking down. Oh, it gets 3 ghosts. Disruptors get so much. So this pressure coming in from Trigger right now, it's making it so Byun can't mine. It is one of the things. This high ground base is just not... It's not mineable. Not with this Colossus here. Marauders try to get on top. Trigger, you got to pull back here. He's dealing with the Disruptors instead. That Colossus will fall. That was just such a powerful component of Trigger's army. Even still, Trigger has his map. He's on 97 workers. Blinks in. Disruptor shots. Trying to get more here. This is scary, though. Byun trying to pull the trigger once again, but the Disruptors just zoning things out more and more and more here. And the medevacs continue to fall. No more healing in this army. And now Byun's 127 supply. Immortals getting added in. Colossus getting re-added. The first, wow, yeah, 2 more Colossus on the way. 7 Disruptors in this army. And Byun can barely mine out of this base. More SCVs are mining out of here now. But you can't help but feel these 2 Colossus are done. Trigger runs forward, and it's just nigh impossible. Stalkers onto the low ground. They're going to kill more SCVs. I mean, Disruptors, hey, they get more army. And now the question is, how does Trigger break this? He finds an opportunity. Liberator 1 dead. Second one dead as well. And now Zealots come filtering forward on the +1 shields timing. And yeah, you know, is it going to end the game right now? It's getting very close, actually. Disruptor shots get more. But more importantly, that sensor tower is dead. The more medevacs fall. And by the way, because these medevacs keep dying, these Colossus are just, there's nothing to deal with them whatsoever. Marauders try to get on top. And Trigger's doing it. Trigger 2-1's Byun. My goodness. Trigger 2-1's Byun. And he moves on to the round of 4. And of course, if you like this, you want more like this, do me a favor. Drop a sub on the channel. Like this video. Let me know what has changed, why Trigger is suddenly so good. And if you just say it's 10 range Colossus, that's not good enough. And also, I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/BamWolf. You should check me there. I'm live several nights a week. It kind of varies week to week, but at least EPT on 7 p.m. Monday nights. I'll see you then.